Imagine walking into a modern-day beauty store, rows of colorful palettes, shimmering highlighters, and countless shades of lipstick. Now, what if I told you that Neanderthals were doing something very similar over 50,000 years ago? Yep, those so-called cavemen, often thought of as brutish and primitive, were wearing makeup, creating jewelry, and possibly even following fashion trends. And scientists have actual evidence to prove it. But why would a Neanderthal, living in a harsh Ice Age world, bother with things like jewelry and body paint? Weren't they just focused on survival? And if they did use makeup, what did they make it from? Could they have been even more creative than we think? Well, that's exactly what we're about to uncover. By the end of this video, you're going to see Neanderthals in a completely different light. All right, let's be honest. When you think of a Neanderthal, what do you picture? A hunched-over, hairy, grunting caveman, right? Maybe dragging a club, hunting mammoths all day. That's how movies and cartoons have shown them for years. But that image is completely outdated. Neanderthals weren't some dumb, lesser version of humans. They were intelligent and shockingly creative. Scientists now believe that Neanderthals might have been just as smart as early Homo sapiens, maybe even smarter in some ways. And one of the biggest pieces of evidence for this? Their use of cosmetics and jewelry. This might sound crazy at first, but archaeologists have found mind-blowing discoveries proving Neanderthals had their own sense of style, possibly for beauty, rituals, or even social status. So how did we discover this? What kind of makeup did they use? And what does this tell us about who they really were? Let's dive in. For a long time, scientists believed that only modern humans, Homo sapiens, had the intelligence to create art, symbols, and personal decorations. Neanderthals, on the other hand, were seen as primitive, focused only on survival. That assumption lasted for decades. Whenever archaeologists found ancient objects like painted shells or carved beads in old Neanderthal sites, they assumed these must have belonged to early Homo sapiens. But then something incredible happened. In 2010, scientists made a discovery that changed everything. The discovery that changed everything. In a cave in Spain, researchers uncovered shells with pigments and tiny holes drilled into them. Some of the shells had traces of red and black paint, meaning they were likely used as necklaces or decorative ornaments. And guess what? These shells were at least 50,000 years old before Homo sapiens arrived in Europe. The only possible explanation? Neanderthals made them, but it didn't stop there. Scientists also found pieces of ochre, a type of natural clay pigment, mixed with animal fat, basically primitive makeup. Some of these pigments contained crushed minerals that created shimmering effects when applied to the skin. Yep, Neanderthals might have been wearing prehistoric highlighter before it was cool. Why did Neanderthals wear makeup? So why would Neanderthals paint themselves? Rituals and spiritual beliefs. They may have used body paint for ceremonies or burial rituals. Social status or group identity. Different colors might have signified different clans or ranks. Camouflage for hunting. Pigments could help them blend into their environment. Personal adornment. Maybe they just liked how it looked. The moment that sealed the deal came when researchers found traces of pigments directly on Neanderthal skeletons. This suggests they weren't just painting objects or shells. They were painting themselves. Think about what that means. If Neanderthals were decorating their bodies, wearing jewelry and using makeup, then they weren't that different from us. They weren't just primitive survivors. They had culture, creativity, and maybe even self-expression. So what does all of this tell us? Neanderthals weren't just grunting cave people. They were intelligent, artistic, and possibly even stylish. They used makeup, jewelry, and pigments for reasons we're still trying to understand. And this raises an even bigger question. If Neanderthals were this advanced, what else have we been getting wrong about them? The more we dig, the more we realize that history isn't as simple as we thought.